These exercises are based on a table and suggested that you actually pause the DVD at the table and then go through step by step with the solutions. So in the first row, if we round to the nearest 100, we have to consider that we leave the number as is or it goes up. So 155 is in the 100s, so either it stays as a 100 or it goes up to 200. 155 is in the 150s, so either it stays as 150 or it gets rounded up to 160 in the tens column. And for whole numbers, presently it's 155, but we could round up to 156. So 155 is above halfway in the 100s, so that means we round up to 200. Likewise, we go up to 160, it's above halfway in the 150s, and 155.78 needs to be rounded up because the 7 in the first decimal place means that the number is raised to 156. It might be an idea to pause at this point and see you agree with the choices that are available to you for the solutions in the second row. Notice in each case we either leave the number as it presently is, or we round up, depending on which particular place value we're rounding to. In the first case, we look at the 100s column and it's a 9. The next number to the right is an 8, so we have to round up, so 9 becomes 0, and we carry 1 over to the next place to make it 2000. In the next example, we look at the tens column, it's an 8. The number to the right is a 2, that means it's in the lower half, so we leave the number as 1980. And in the last example, the next place value after the whole number is 0, and that means that we leave the number as is, 1982, to the nearest whole number. Once again, look at the options that are available for each case and pause this now and see if you actually agree with the choices that are available to you. In the first case, we look at the hundreds column and the next number is a 2, so we keep the number as a 200. In the next example, we look at the tens column, which is a 2. The number to the right is an 8, so we round the number up to 230. And in the last case, we see that the number is 228 as a whole number, so we could round up to 229. The next decimal place is a 7, so that means that we round up to 229. Once again, pause at this point and see if you agree with the choices. In the 100s column, we've got a 1. The next number is a 0, so we leave it as is. In the tens column, it's a 0, and the next number is a 0, so we leave it as 100. And in the last case, the number in the first decimal place is a 1, so we leave the number as 100. Again, have a look at the choices and see if you agree with what's available to you at this point. In the first case, the number in the hundreds column is a 3, but the next number is a 9, so we round up. In the tens column, it's a 9, but the number next to it to the right is a 9, so we have to round up. So what happens is the 9 becomes a 0, and then we have to flow that onto the 3 to make it 400. In the last example, there's a 9 in the units column, and to the right of that is another 9 at the first decimal place. So that means that we round up, the 9 becomes a 0, and that flows on to the tens column, and then the hundreds column to make the number 400.